minutes early. We can do that, right? So here we are. So, okay. What we're going to do today, for the most part, is we're not going to actually be using any of this shit over here. What we're going to do is we're going to, for now, go into my animation level, because that's also my testing level. And before we do anything else, what I need to do is I need to close down this. And I need to give myself some initialization for my stats. So let's take a look at my ability system and open up the default attributes here and call this default attributes like max, something like that. Because that's weird. I thought the default stats are all set to 0. For some reason they are not. So the issue I have is when I get hit once, that fucks me up. And I'm going to get hit a lot here. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Probably should figure out what the fuck, that's not what I meant to do. Probably should figure that out before we actually get into the enemy AI programming that I plan to do here. Because that's gonna be problematic. Is it because I've got my game mode not set to the proper thing? Very unlikely. Like there's something here that's messing me up. I just don't know what. Let's try this. Nope. Still 0. Right? I do have 0 attack and defense, or HP and MP rather, right? Somewhere in here there should be something that shows me that. Actually, I don't think there is. Okay, let's test this out a different way then. Do we have a nav mesh on this thing? We do not. Let's add that before we do anything else then. And the nav mesh bounds will be fuck off large and fuck off large. And let's just throw in, if I go into my microphone, arm is kind of broken, so my microphone is in front of my face even more than usual, so it's kind of hard to see what's happening on screen. That's gonna be an issue for a little while. These are the animations. I need to have the blueprints for enemies, and then ground enemies. I said ground enemies. And let's just add in a basic team. Why are you not? BP basic demon. That's what I wanted. So if this guy hits me once, that should just like obliterate me. And where even is he? No, seriously, wait, what? He just despawns? He just does not exist. Oh, I'm an idiot. No, that is entirely my bad. What's happening here is there is a... I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've been in this project, but I've got a bool variable, whether or not an enemy should start as being active or they should be manually activated. Hold on, do I... Instead, I think I just have infinite HP, which is actually preferable for testing purposes. Yeah, no, I think this kind of works. Either that or I just simply do not see my HP, which is actually kind of more likely. Let me just try and kill myself. Just so I know at this point what to expect. Yeah, I don't think he's damaging me. I don't think that he's damaging me, and I very much like that. I love that idea. Okay. I don't really care about any of that. Good. So we can actually get to the gameplay programming stuff now, and I'm going to stop you looping that animation, because that is annoying as hell. Or even playing that animation, for that matter. Cool. So what we can do is in here we have, is that in characters? Crowned, basic demon. Let's copy that and actually the behavior tree and blackboard over as well into our new folder. Basic Reaper. And we can just paste all of that shit in. And this will become our BP Basic Reaper. And then also the blackboard and stuff will rename to Reaper as well. We can probably keep the same blackboard, but I do like to make specific new ones, because otherwise I will forget that I am sharing and I want to add values or remove values, because it's annoying. It's mostly all because of this. I don't want to have to set up that again, which is very lazy on my part. But now, what we do is we change out the mesh to our basic Reaper mesh, which is fucking huge, and also change out the yeah, maybe change out the materials as well. I think I just called it body arms. Yeah, and then this is that 2 materials for the body? I don't think so. Maybe there is. Okay, sure. This thing has 3 materials. Fine with me. Why are the materials being so weird? There we go. And we probably want to make this mesh a fair bit smaller as well. Something a little more like that, maybe. And then obviously we're going to change up the the size of the collision box as well a fair bit. Way lower radius, and even the capsule height will lower down a fair bit, so it fits a little bit more snugly around. Maybe having it have a slightly thicker radius is fine. Do we have an animation blueprint for this guy yet? I think we do. Right? We do. Oh yes, because we set up like the wiggly fingers. Remember that? The wiggly fingers from like a month ago? We set that up. Which definitely tells me that we, number 1, should be pulling the mesh down a little bit. And probably should be just increasing the height ever so slightly, so you stay more or less within the collision. Like, not entirely, but like this is fine. And for now, everything else we can more or less keep the same, except we somewhere in here should have a reference to the blackboard that we're using, or the behavior tree rather, which will be BT basic repo instead. It's going to have different AI, slightly different AI at least. Let's open up that behavior tree because we need to do a few things. And for that, let's also open up the animation blueprint related to this guy. Is it only like raining real hard? I think it is. Don't mind that. So open this up. Do we have a... Yeah, we have an animation slot set up here. So that is good. I just needed to check that. Otherwise we can't play anim montages. And in order to play those anim montages, and here's where things get fun, we actually need to make the gameplay abilities to at least the basic attacks. Just want to check out that all the basic shit that shouldn't take that long, that shouldn't really take any scripting or programming, but that works, and then we'll jump into the custom attacks for this guy. So that's animation. We want that characters, no, enemies, ground. I really fucked up the reorganization of my project because at this point I literally just can't find anything because there's nothing in here, right? Yeah. Is it in... Oh, it's in blueprints. Probably. Nah, maybe enemies. G.A.S. Gameplay abilities. Play simple animation. That's for the enemy, right? That's for the enemy. Cool. Let's make a child blueprint class for that and call it gameplay ability Reaper left attack. And we can put that in the you see, I don't know why my blueprints aren't stored in the blueprint folder because, you know, that would kind of make sense, but they're not in there. So where do I actually put the gameplay abilities with these guys? Is it in characters? No. Is it in... Man, I haven't opened this project in like a while. The holidays have really done a number on my memory of this project. So we'll have to take a moment here. It is in enemies. No, it's not. Then where the hell do I store these things? It's in blueprints, enemies, characters. Oh. Blueprints. Enemies, characters, ground. And then here we also store the... Yes, we also store them there. Okay, so that's where we have that thing. I found it, finally. Then the gameplay ability for Reaper attack left. I'm going to just copy that over to there. I'm starting to think that splitting up the assets in like animation and blueprint folders instead of just throwing all the assets for each individual character into one folder was a horrible idea. But I'm not going to go back right now and reorganize things back to kind of how they were before. So we're just going to have to deal with it. And we'll go there. Enemies, basic Reaper. We have the anim montage for attack left and revenge attack already done. Okay, that's good stuff. So let's open up this one as well, and we'll will set the gameplay tag instead of spider shield, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I also should revise the gameplay tags here, because what I'm doing here doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm just going to set this to attack and be done with it. Ability tags, I'm also just going to simply set to attack. Let's do attack.basic. Because I'm probably going to keep that one. What I'm not going to keep doing is make like attack demon basic revenge, attack ghost basic revenge, because that's entirely unnecessary. If I need a specific, for whatever reason, if I need to specify which character it's doing, that should be at the bottom of the hierarchy, not at the top. Because that saves me a lot of unnecessary tags to make. It doesn't matter that much, but it's just iffy the way I'm doing it right now. And then it should play the Reaper left attack montage. We'll also make a right attack at some point. I have not done that yet. I meant to at some points, but I forgot. This is the normal attack, so it just execute Reaper left attack, which is just a swipe with the hand. It's not that special. When we're close by, if we're not close by, we're moving toward the player. We're gonna be changing a bit of this in a moment as well, and if we're too far away, it's just gonna be patrolling. And this is the revenge attack, which I do think actually I have a thing for as well. So Reaper revenge attack. Right, I have a montage for that as well, which at the moment I think is literally just... Is it a double swipe? I think it's a double swipe attack. It's a double swipe attack, yes. Let's see. Activation owned should be status invincible. And that will be the Reaper revenge attack. So at this point, we should have the enemy that will pretty much do the exact same thing as our basic demon enemy, but with the mesh and the animations corresponding to... Is that too big still? That might still be a little bit too big, to be honest with you. We'll figure it out. Let's see. This feels like it's going to crash the game. It somehow did not. It also does not like me using the double 4K textures on him. Clearly. Do I still have Premiere open or something? No, I don't. It's also not the double 4K textures because it's not even loaded in. At least it's not rendering. Maybe those textures are loaded in, even if it's not being shown. That is worth looking into at some point. But what is probably happening is it's probably keeping some of this stuff in video memory. Unnecessarily. Also, it shouldn't really matter because those textures are already in memory due to that guy over there. Yeah, with this frame rate, the cloth physics are absolutely shitting themselves. I don't know what the issue is. And it's kind of freaking me out. For now, I'll just close down a couple of blueprints here. And maybe that'll do something. Scalability is already set to medium. So... Texture streaming pool is over budget, but how? That doesn't make any sense. Like, what in here has like high-res textures? Like, this guy doesn't have any textures. Just got 2 flat color materials. This thing, it does have a 4K texture, I do believe. And somehow that's an issue. Let's just for shits and giggles remove this guy and see, do you improve your quality now? You don't. Or is that just because you're set to medium? That's just because you're set to medium, isn't it? It's just a texture thing. Frame rate is still shit. I don't know what's up with my frame rate. Like, seriously, check this out. If I go stat FPS, this is less than a frame per second. You see? This is under 1 frame per second. It's like 0.9 frames per second. This is fucking insane. Has to be OBS. Because I've got nothing else open that could be taking up that much in the way of resources. Other than, I suppose, maybe Chrome. But that's mostly just like normal memory. Let me open up Task Manager real quick to see where the issue might come in. It looks like it might be video memory, which would be a problem. Because again, I don't know what could be taking up my video memory this ridiculously much, but it does seem to be plateauing quite a bit. And it's CPU? What in the world is destroying my CPU that much? Is it the cloth sim? Is it the cloth sim? No. Surely having one simple cloth simulation doesn't destroy your CPU like that, right? Surely not. I feel like that is it. Can we just like turn off the cloth sim? Because clothing. If I turn that off, does it just like, I think that just turns off the sim entirely, which is not ideal. It's probably because I've got self-collision set to true. It also wasn't doing that before with just the basic demon enemy. Right, if I remove this motherfucker, there's no issue whatsoever. It is something to do with that, but what? How? What about this guy is destroying my frame rate? I am just so confused right now. Something about this blueprint specifically is destroying my frame rate, and it makes no sense. Just to check, the cloth physics are just entirely disabled now, right? Yeah. So it has nothing to do with that. What is it specifically about this guy that's messing me up? Because the weirdest thing is you guys saw me copy over the blueprint from, and like the behavior tree and everything from the enemy that I tested out a moment ago. So this one should be identical. Other than, of course, different mesh, different animations, different materials. I'm just going to restart Unreal real quick. To see if it's just fucking up. Because I don't know what's happening. My goodness, can you guys hear that, or is that just my microphone being very sensitive? Oh, it was actually like minus 50 dB, so you probably can't hear that rainfall outside. It sounds real loud in my like feedback monitor, but if it's not that bothersome to like the actual numbers, we'll probably be fine. Okay, so now going back into my levels, into the animation level, let's try this out again. There's something about that guy just existing is destroying my frame rate. And you want to know what the funniest thing is? Is it just the fact that this guy exists? He's not even active. He's not ticking. He doesn't have any AI active because that's all set to false when he's not active. Like right now I've set him to active and he's doing all those things and it doesn't actually impact anything at all. Well, let's just see what he does. Do you actually attack me? Doesn't even seem to want to attack me. Okay, what the actual fuck is the issue? Seriously, what is going wrong here? Is it the damage box doing weird stuff? Let's remove the damage box for now. The HP bar we probably should put to... We can't do anything with that. The death particles and the spawn particles. Wait, what? Oh, that makes sense. We can't set that to active. That's fair enough. Neither of those should matter. Potentially we want like this to be up there. And then the lock on widget, we probably should actually parent that to the mesh. Now I think about it. Well, we'll think about that in a moment. Maybe if you just play in like a editor window? No, that doesn't fix anything. I didn't expect this to be the problem that we're going to be facing here today. It has to be animation blueprint related, right? If we just use a... set them to a T-pose. Even then... So that's not it. Okay, next up. Something to do with the behavior tree. Let's just remove, how do you remove this again? Right click, middle click, just like, I forgot how you remove links in behavior trees. This is really that bad. Is it backspace? No, that deletes the entire node. I don't want to delete the entire node. I just want to delete. I guess I'll Google that. Unreal delete link BT. Oh, alt click. Is it alt click? It's alt click. Yeah, there we go. I figured it out before Google actually told me, because I'm smart like that. Does this change anything at all about the performance here? No. But Jesus Christ, things are getting wild out there. Event graph. Are you doing anything on like event tick that's doing weird? No. Nothing about like even your tick is weird. Let me try to change your mesh again to like basic demon. It is something to do with the mesh. Okay, that's a start. It is something to do with the mesh assets. But what? We have disabled the clothing, I'm pretty sure at this point, right? Let's see, this is the physics asset, I believe. No, that's a montage. So that's for animations. Physics asset. Okay, you guys have to be able to hear this, right? Yeah, it's about 10 dB louder than it was last time I checked. Holy shit. But why in the world, unless this is like accidentally the high poly version, it's just 100 and, I mean, it is a lot of triangles, don't get me wrong, like it's 155,000, but like if I remove this one, I know that's an issue. I'm just testing things out. Like it's not even specifically the mesh. Because it's the same mesh as the thing that I just deleted. This one. That's the exact same mesh. It is the mesh either in a XOR or at this scale. So let's scale it up. And just see... Okay, so it's got to do with the scale of the mesh. So why is a small scale mesh? Why? How? How is my performance going to shit when the scale of this mesh is lower. I would very much like to have that explained to me. It has to do with the cloth physics. It has to be the cloth physics. I have to assume. Because it's trying to do self-collision on like a smaller scale, and that is probably fucking it up. That kind of has to be it. And even though I have it disabled, it probably still is doing those collisions or something for some reason. So let's go into, I think it's in shared. Simulation. Max iterations count. Let's put that down to like 5. Chaos cloth sim, collision properties. Let's disable self collision. I don't know if that's going to end up being a problem, but it's probably going to fix my issue. I mean, it looks like it fixes my issue, so it probably was that. But right now, it's like entirely not animating. Oh, and it's not moving because, yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't have the behavior tree set up. So when it is moving, yeah, that feels a bit better, so we can do that. So now the question becomes, and I'm going to have to set this up on my other monitor, I'm very sorry. Why are you not... It's saying that it's cooldown. It's on cooldown. It's on a 2-second cooldown on the attack, but he never actually does the attack. And he's never not on cooldown. Well, no, he's trying to do the attack. Reaper left attack montage is on the default slot. So... why does this thing think it is on cooldown, like, all the time? Let's remove that cooldown for now. Probably because it is executing and just not doing the ability. Do we have a bind? No, it's not an object, right? Try activate. We can do a thing. Try activate ability. Make gameplay abilities back handle maybe. Create. I know how to do this for a gameplay effect. Unreal G.A.S make ability spec. It's probably... Oh, I think I know what this is. If I give ability it returns an ability spec. There we go. If we break... Can we not break that? Can't even split the structure pin. Huh. It doesn't have any like event handles anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So it's not activating. Oh, I am an idiot. Oh my god. It's because this thing doesn't have that ability. You fucking idiot. See, abilities on spawn are still the wrong ones. Let's see, Revenge for the Reaper. And then for now we're going to just delete these two entries and just say the Reaper left attack for this, and that will work. That was kind of embarrassing. It's real dumb. But now he should try to be attacking me. He's trying to attack me. Fan-fucking-tastic. That works. Okay. Next up. The thing we do is this animation we're going to... I probably should make a thing for notify state that turns off and on damage boxes. But I can't be fucked right now, so I'm not going to do that. What I will do instead is a thing that I've actually wanted to do for a while for this specific attack, for this specific character, is what I want to do is I want to add a fuck ton of particle systems to this, first and foremost. So what we're going to do is add a Niagara particle system component, and we'll call this left thumb. And you can see where I'm going with this. You can see where I'm going with this. This is left thumb 3. And from there we will go... I'll just duplicate these. For now we only need them on the left hand. So this is going to be left index, left middle finger, left ring finger, left pinky, and they all get their own parentage here. So what I'm going to do here, and there might be a better way to do this to be fair, but this is the way that I came up with, is we'll parent a particle system to the tips of all of the fingers, and then that those particle systems, when we turn them on, they're going to like have like little streaks of light coming out of those fingers as kind of almost smear frames. And they're going to be pretty easy to do, because that the way we're going to be doing those is simply through VFX, Niagara system, that's fine, new system from selected emitters. We'll just do a, it doesn't really matter what we do, I'll just add a fountain and swipe FX. System, swipe, Reaper. We're going to delete everything about this anyway, right? So we have this, and we initialize the particle. We set it to just whatever its location is. We don't want velocity, we don't want gravity, we don't want drag. We can scale the color. That's, no, actually we won't, because no, we're not going to be using that. We're not going to be solving for any of that stuff. We don't even need the sprite renderer on this one. to be honest. All we're going to do is in the particle update, we're going to location events, generate location events. And here we just fix some issues. The issue is that it should have persistent IDs, I think. Yeah, there we go. Still some warnings. Emitter using dynamic bounce mode, but only using emitter resources rendered. It doesn't really matter because we're not rendering anything anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll just copy this over real quick. And in the particle spawn, I think, is... Or is it an update? I always forget. We need an event handler. That's it. We do the location event from the previous one. Execution mode for every particle. We spawn one particle. And then we make those into ribbons. And that in theory should... Well, it's not doing anything right now, but if I pull this into the world, that in theory should now, yeah, create a trail behind it, as you can see. It's trail with a way too long of a lifespan. So let's go down to the, I think it's in the ribbon, initialized particle. It's about 0.3 and not random. It's a bit of a issue with like the gaps in it, which I think are to do with this in here somewhere. We have the UV setting. Let's just see if we actually end up having that as a problem or not, because we'll then just say, hey, use that Niagara system for all of these fingers. And you can kind of see what that's like, right? So when he swipes, we'll just keep it all turned on for the time being. But when he swipes, you should be able to see yeah, that's exactly that. That is pretty much exactly what I wanted it to be and expected it to be. So that is really, really good. Now, in the animation blueprint, we then simply go into the event graph and we make a simple event here for a sip of water. We make a simple event for... No, we don't make an event first. What we do is we go back into there and we check. We start right here. And we might as well hook this up to the actual turning on of the damage box as well. So we make a notify on the right track, please. There we go. Add a new notify. Turn on damage. And at the very end here, we add our notify. Turn off damage left, we should actually specify. Can I rename these? Maybe I can't, so I'll just remake one, that's fine. New notify, turn on damage left. turn on damage left. Turn on damage left, I said. Thank you very much. And then we can turn off damage left as well. With the pawn owner, we'll every frame just cast to BP basic Reaper, which will promote to a variable. Get thumb, and here we're going to have to get a few different things. So let's go in order of fingers. So thumb, left index, get middle, and then just like page down. There we go. Get ring, page down, and then get left. Well, if you need help, you can try to check out the Discord. Whenever I'm live, I'm working on my own stuff, and I can't really get bogged down by helping other people solve their issues. But if you drop down into the Discord, or well, if you have questions about a specific video in the comments of a video, I'll be happy to try and help if I can. So let's activate all these. There's one more. You know, sometimes I really don't like Blueprint having to drag all of these like noodles all over the fucking place. It's really annoying. But specifically with Animation Blueprint, I still haven't figured out a way to like make a C++ class out of this. And for a lot of these things, I'm adding them through Blueprint anyway, because that's quicker, easier, makes more sense. So I can't access them through C++ to begin with. We can deactivate. We can. So let's do that for all of these as well. But you see what I mean, right? It just ends up quite messy, and it's a little tedious to hook all these things up. Although it's not that bad. So going back in here, all of these should by default not auto-activate. We haven't done that much gameplay programming yet, I'm aware, but yeah, that's it. I don't know why there seemingly is such a like weirdness. Also, what the hell's going on with the shadows? And why are you ignoring me when I attack you? Like, there's a little bit of curliness to it, which is not really what I expected it to be, but it's probably the fact that the hand is rotating while it's attacking. I don't hate it. It's not what I intended. It's not what I had in mind. I much more had like very straight lines in mind that did more like scratches. But it's not horrible. I don't know what is up with the shadows though. Because those shadows that stick around very much are nothing to do with the... it's probably just the lighting, right? If I set the scalability to high, it's probably just an issue with that. No, still doing weird stuff with the shadows. Also, there's a fucking war zone going outside. It's almost New Year's. Well, let's just ignore the shadow issue for now, because there's a good chance that it doesn't even show up in the actual game. Now let's check out the revenge value attack, whether or not that works as well. And then we'll get into actually programming in the teleporting attack as well. So we're checking here whether or not the revenge is greater than 7. We can do that. That's pretty good. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. Maybe one more. I feel like that was actually the attack, but it was executed way too quickly. Which makes sense because it blends out over like a quarter of a second. It should be like 0.05. And even then, maybe it should also play a little slower. How about that? Maybe that's a little too slow. 0.8. And just for testing purposes, let's set this to 1. So if I attack you once, maybe that animation just needs a little extra, but we'll get back to that eventually. Let's just give it 0.25, and that also... Do we have... I don't think we have the curves for this, do we? Yeah, I don't think this material has the Fresnel built-in. I think it's a child of that specific material, which it should be, but it's not. I'll open up the chat again in a moment. I just... I don't have that open at the moment. Let's see, the arms. Yeah, they're just materials in and of themselves. Is there any reason for them to be at this point? I don't think there is. So let's fix that up as well. In the materials, I can close down the stuff here. Trail's looking nice. Thank you. I do like it. I'm a little bit surprised by like the curliness of some of those trails, but I do quite like them. So I'm also going to add them to the other side in a moment. Specifically for the revenge attack, and there's also going to be a right-handed attack, which I have yet to animate. We'll probably not do that today, the right-handed attack, because I want to get to some scripting. But what was I doing again? The material, that's what I was doing. The holidays are really taking it out of me, man. Where do I even store the fucking materials? It's probably in a separate folder from the... Super cool that you made one for each finger. Yeah. I kind of... in very much the same way that like the weapon trails for the sword itself is kind of supposed to be a interpretation of smear frames. Like a lot of this stuff, the way I usually like try to come up with it and try to think through it is in like 2D animation basis is how does this work in traditional animation, and how can I translate that into like this 3D environment? And those sword slashes are supposed to be smear frames. They're a little different, of course. Same thing here. This is more or less just supposed to emulate smear frames that you would see in traditional 2D animation. In a very simple to render and simple to make way. Of course, you've got insane stuff like the way they fake that kind of stuff in Into the Spider-Verse. That movie, that's way more advanced. And even things like the Lego Movie do very interesting stuff. If you go through the Lego Movie frame by frame, because that movie doesn't have frame blending, it doesn't have motion blur, because it's supposed to be a stop motion movie. It's not, it's CG, but it's supposed to be stop motion. It doesn't have the luxury of using blurry stuff as smear frame. So what it does, when it does need to use a smear frame, it actually substitutes in like different Lego pieces that look like a smear frame for like that frame. It's really clever how it does that. The stuff I'm doing is much more basic, but it still is the way that I end up like thinking about things, and I was doing a thing. Hold on. Somewhere in here should be the master material for I have not sorted this out yet. Oh no. Oh, that's not good. Is there an easy way for me to get like a reference to the original bad guy material here? I should go through his enemy material. I think it's this one. Yeah, that looks like the mess of a material that I made. Create material instance, which will be Reaper arms. And then the base color will be Reaper arm. Emission it doesn't have. Metallicness it doesn't have. Reaper, it's body. Reaper arms, there we go. Roughness. Oh yeah, no, I remember now. Okay, we're not going to use roughness for the time being because this material expects a grayscale roughness map, and since I switched to using Substance Designer for this, let's see, Reaper arm. This one has like packed texture maps for everything that's grayscale, which is more optimal because you can pack like 3 or 4 different texture maps into one texture, which is much more optimized, which is good. But my current material doesn't really support that yet. So I guess we'll just have no roughness on the materials for now. That's fine. It's not ideal, but it works. The Lego Movie was not done in Unreal. No. Absolutely not. And then we have Reaper body. Well, 3D animation is just, that's not what I wanted to do. But 3D animation is just 3D animation, right? The interface of a tool might look different, and like render capabilities or something might end up looking different, but in the end, the basic techniques behind all this stuff remains the same no matter what you're working in. Okay, we've got Reaper arms. And we've got the Reaper body. And I don't think that this material is actually applied to any vertices, but, you know, might as well. And then in the Reaper arms, we want to dissolve in at 100%, and yeah, at 100% as well. Okay, now that we've got that fixed up, we can go back to our animation. Oh, this is really shiny, isn't it? Well, we'll have to deal with that for now. So now in theory, if we... No, it still does not. Why does the Fresnel not work? Is it because we need to... Probably need to enable this. Yeah, I think that's it. Remember the first time I saw the sword trail in Devil May Cry, I was amazed how once good. I've never actually seen that. I'm not too familiar with Devil May Cry. It seems like something that I might actually enjoy, so I probably should check it out at some point. So yeah, for some reason, yeah. So this is why I had self collision on in the first place, because this otherwise happens, which is kind of annoying. But it'll be fine. What I just don't understand is why this Fresnel effect is just refusing to do anything. Oh, I think I understand. Hold on. Window curve debugger. I don't think that's what I want. Oh, that is what I want actually. Material. I do want it on the material. Fuck you, I said I do want it on the material. Why won't you let me? Okay, let's remove that. Maybe it's not a debugger, maybe it's a different window. Maybe I need to do it on the actual... I could have sworn I had a window that was called just curves at some point in the past. Not called curve debugger, but maybe they changed it in Unreal 5.3. Let's check this out. Yeah, that's not doing anything. Now I'm probably... Is it somewhere in here? Nope. Yeah, I'm doing this project entirely solo, which is why it's taken fucking forever. And also really confusing me why this is not doing what I want it to be doing. Is there... I'm just going to... Hold on, I'm just going to Google this real quick. We wanted the revenge attack. Unreal 5.3 animation curves window. I swear to God, if you give me sequence of curves, I'm going to lose my mind. Can create curve, add curve. Yeah, there is a anim curves panel. That's not a debug panel. Am I losing my mind? I might be. Has it just been renamed to the curve debugger? because it is in the same place. It used to be called Anim Curves and now it's Curve Debugger. I think that's just it. But it also doesn't work anymore, so... Yeah, no, that's just... why would you fucking do this to something that was just working? Why? This worked fine before. You didn't need to change it. There probably is a good reason for it that I just can't think of at the moment. The cloth. Oh, I do plan on making a quick video about that at some point. It's actually remarkably easy. It's done through cloth physics. So if you have a skeletal mesh, what you can do is you can add like clothing physics to it. Somewhere in here, surely. Let's see. So there you go. You can right click and create clothing data. So let's just do it for this, for instance. You can create clothing data, which you can then create, and you can apply the clothing data. And somewhere you then get the option to like paint in weight, like you do with weight painting, but for clothing instead, and that will then influence the cloth dynamics. And then there's a whole bunch of like material options over here in the cloth configuration, but that's not what I'm looking at the moment. What I'm looking at is why this fucking debug thing is not working. Struggles are real. I'm not saving you. Too much to learn, not enough time. Man, you tell me about it. like there's if you're doing this on your own, like I am, it's a lot of fun. It's very challenging, but it does require a certain type of person to accept the fact that whatever you do, you're never going to be a master at everything, or likely even like be an actual like get mastery over any individual part of this. Just be pretty decent at everything. At most, after like a lot of practice. My goodness, it's like, can you guys hear that rain? I'm serious. Like, that's how hard it's raining outside. Anyway, let's try again. We can add a curve, and like these curves. There's a Fresnel opacity. Why won't it let me enable this to be a material curve? Is there any like changes in here that I'm missing? Yeah, I'm sorry about the rain. I can't really do too much about that. Unreal 5.3 material curve. Animation. You know what I'll actually do? I've got a better idea. If we go into the animations folder here, into characters, enemies. Where the fuck did I put the other animations? God damn it! Okay, no panic. No panic, we'll be fine. You can go into blueprints, and then characters, enemies, characters, ground, basic demon. Open up your animation blueprint. Oh, so for this one I did just put everything in one folder, because consistency, fuck me. It's very quiet. If you don't know, you can't even notice it. Yeah, it's kind of weird how things are much more loud in my microphone compared to how the stream like picks it up apparently. Which is good. It's very good. It's just a little weird. Okay, revenge attack. So if I go in here, we have like the emission power and like the Fresnel or Fresnel, however you like to pronounce it. This works. If I go into window, we have curve debugger. This might break things, by the way. Now in the debugger I just can't change this. But I don't have a like non-debug menu for this anymore. Unreal, what the fuck are you doing? Is it in tools? Where the fuck did you put this window? Sorry for breathing into the microphone there. It's not a curve debugger. That much I can be sure about at this point. Show developers content, show plugin content, localized content. Okay, edit and sequencer. Let's just do that for a moment, right? Just for shits and giggles. Let's open up this level sequence and see if I can add an animation curve like for the material there. Because if that works, that's fine too. It's a little annoying, but that's fine. Can I say like skeletal mesh components? Material parameters, element 0, 1, and 2. Is that it? I think that might be it. Not quite. These are the three materials. I understand. And then we have the parameters. Okay, so we can say the Fresnel opacity, and now I have a value that I can animate. So I can push this up. Okay, it's a little annoying that it works that way, but I figured it the fuck out, and now I can actually just animate them with keyframes as well, which is actually quite nice. So let's add in material element 1 as well. And to that we also want the Fresnel opacity. And we can just simply say add a keyframe at frame 0 for both of these. So 0 and 0. And then we go all the way back there. And set that to like 5. Maybe 5 is a bit much. Let's do 3. And then I forgot about element 2 because that is still a thing that we actually need to do. Okay, now the fact that this is actually like possible this way is kind of preferable. I largely prefer doing it this way over having to use the curves, but, you know, I don't know, we're at this anyway. We might as well make this like 10 frames longer so that it has some blend out time as well. Why not, right? I mean, yeah, sometimes working with other people is fun, but I also like just really like doing my thing, and at that point, like, yes, if I had the money to like make other people do things for me, I definitely would. But I definitely work best in collaboration when people are working for me and not with me, as bad as that sounds for me. Because, I mean, it's not great. Be the first to admit that. Okay, so that should work now. So if I go back into my montage, that's not the montage that I want to do. If I go back into my montage, I mean, it's not showing in here, which is kind of weird, but let's just check in gameplay. Does it work in gameplay? No, it's just straight up it doesn't, does it? Why? Why is that? Reaper Revenge again. Add it in sequencer. Remember when I said this was going to be about gameplay programming? Yeah, I intended it to be, but then everything went to fucking shit. And now it's about me troubleshooting stuff. Just stuff. Let's remove these. I don't really need those either. Okay, that might be some improvement. Or not. Or not. Is it because we have the... Yeah, the montage needs to be set to be longer, I think. Montage section. Yeah, for now, it doesn't do it with every attack, but it's like when an enemy does I call it a revenge attack. So if you attack him a number of times, he has a counter how many times he's been attacked, and after a certain amount of time, that counter resets to 0. If you keep spamming on one enemy, it does a revenge attack, at which point it will become invincible, so you can't like cancel out of it by doing more attacks to force the player to run away. And that is telegraphed by, hey, I'm glowing red now, you should probably get the fuck away from me. I do think that works decently well. A lot of my test players just keep mashing through anyway, because people are fucking stupid. It's really what it comes down to. It's something to do with the gameplay or the montage itself, because that one ends too soon. So this doesn't seem to be updating for some reason. Which is kind of a nightmare. Browse to assets. Let's just make another one. Just to test. Create and a montage. Yeah, see, this one also like hangs on this part a little longer. And now we go back to the gameplay ability, which is somewhere in this whole mess of... Oh, it's right there. Never mind. I found it relatively easily. Now, does this do the Fresnel thing? Still does not. So very nice that you can animate this in the sequencer, but if it doesn't translate into the actual montage, it's kind of fucking worthless, isn't it? So we didn't really gain anything there. They changed some of this interface between Unreal 5.1 and 5.3, and I updated 5. To 5.3 for some nanite related reasons, to have tessellation as an option, which is not officially supported, but I don't give a shit. And now the thing that I was using doesn't work anymore, and the thing that seems to have replaced it also doesn't work. Surely I must just be missing something, so I'm going to not worry about that for the time being. What we're going to do, at this point, honestly, like we're an hour and a half in. I'm probably not going to stream for too long today. I don't know if I should figure this out, because it is bothering me a lot. Or if I should just move on to the next gameplay ability. I feel like I should probably just move on and get some actual stuff done. Let's do that. Let's get some actual stuff done. I think that would be best. So let's make a gameplay ability. Gameplay ability. Gameplay ability, Reaper, teleport, attack. I'll probably figure it out at some point next week when I get back to this, or tomorrow, depending. But tomorrow I'm probably going to be busy doing quite a lot of editing, so probably not going to be doing a lot of Unreal game development stuff, because I need to edit a video tomorrow, because I'm going to be away over New Year's, and January 1st is a Monday, so that's the first Monday of the month, like right away. And I need to have a devlog up at that point, so it's been an interesting week. Now, in the animations, we have the sequence. Have I made montages for the disappearing and appearing yet? I have not. I'm going to just remove this one. Replace reference with the old one. Yeah. Would you like to apply the changes of the modified material to the original material? Yes, I think. Don't fucking tell me. Don't fucking tell me. No, okay, it still doesn't work. I'm actually, like, surprisingly almost happy with the fact that it still doesn't work. Because if it did, that would have been really annoying. Reaper Vanish will make a montage for, and then appear will make a montage for as well. So we create a montage for both of those. And then we can start the actual scripting of that attack. So the way this is going to work is, that's the wrong ghost. We want a Reaper. The way this is going to work, essentially, at first, is where the fuck is my... Where's my event graph? Thank you. For now, we'll just play montage and wait. That's going to play the vanishing montage. Once we have vanished, we're going to wait for a certain amount of time. And that certain amount of time is going to have to be somewhat randomized. So let's do random float in range between 3 and 5 seconds. When that wait is finished, we're going to get the avatar. And we're going to set position, set actor location, same fucking thing. And we're going to set that based on the get player character, get actor location, and from there we do need to do a little bit of math. Do we? Maybe. Okay, so the ID initially was that it's always going to pop up behind the player. I'm thinking right now that making them pop up behind the player, what that's going to probably end up doing is, that means you're always already going to be moving away from it. So it's going to be ridiculously easy to avoid that attack. So what it should probably do is it probably should appear in front of the player. So what ends up happening is it disappears, but it probably doesn't even notice. And if they do notice, they're going to be a little nervous about that. And then when they're running around, they need to be a little bit more on edge, because something could appear in front of them at any moment, and they just need to like instantly turn around in order to not get slapped in the face. I think that works a bit better. So what we do is we also get the forward vector for the actor. Yes. We multiply that by a number. We can multiply that with a float. Let's say 200. And add that to... I said add that to the actor location. When you finally get those kind of issues to work, it's always very satisfying. I still do prefer not to run into this kind of bullshit issue where something just changes for no reason and makes my stuff break. It's kind of my fault for updating the engine version mid-project. You probably shouldn't do that, but I did anyway. Now the only issue with this is if the player is like running face first into a wall, the enemy is going to teleport into a wall and be a problem. I'm going to choose to ignore that for the time being. So when it's got teleported to that, we check the... Actually, we set the actor rotation. And for that, we use the find look at rotation. And we only want the... I always forget, I think it's only the Z rotation, right? because the X rotation does that. We definitely want that to be 0. We definitely want that to be 0. We only want the Z rotation to be changing. So let's change the Z rotation. We split both of the structure pins. Then the start will be our own location. Target will be the player location. So we rotate our character around toward the player. And then we play another montage and wait. And that will be the appear attack. And then when that is completed, we end the ability. That's the basic shape of this attack. And that should actually be all there is to it for the most part. So let's get back into here and add that into the abilities to grant on startup. Reaper teleport attack. There we go. And then also give him the ability to actually do that in his behavior tree. There's probably going to be some issues with this that I'm going to need to iron out. If this just works first time around, I will be amazed. And obviously it needs to have some visual effects for the appearing and disappearing as well, which will complicate things a little bit, but we'll worry about that when we get to that. So we Jesus Christ, that's loud. I'm sorry. That's my phone. Let's just do a for testing purposes, let's just actually simply do ability. Like, just constantly do this ability with a cooldown of like 15 seconds. So once every 15 seconds, it will just do this ability. I think that makes the most sense for us right now. How to implement that into its actual like behavior, we'll figure out later. First want to see whether or not this actually works to begin with. So far it seems like the answer is maybe, probably not. Let me open up the behavior tree here to check. Okay. It seems like it worked. Fantastic. Then it waits like 2 or 3 to 5 seconds, and then it appears in front of me, which it appears in front of me a little too much. Like, I think I set it to 250 or something. 200. Let's set that to like 60. And then, of course, at the end here, we probably also want to set actor hidden in game. And when it reappears before it starts playing the animation montage, we want to make it not hidden anymore. Tiny details, still quite important. So let's do that again. We wait 15 seconds for it to run through its first cooldown. And now it should also disappear when it does that. probably should do that on blend out. And then it appears right in front of our face. Okay, that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. Let's do this on blend out instead of on complete. So we don't see him. Well, then again, it doesn't really matter that much, because we're going to do something to make it, maybe. I don't know what we're going to do, actually. That's going to make people real annoyed. It needs to be like just a split second of like a particle system appearing before, then waiting another 0.1, 0.15 seconds, and then have him appear. Because this seems like a very short amount of time to like have people to react. I think. Not necessarily something that I really think is going to be a problem. Don't get me wrong. Because we'll just add that at some point. So, for the most part, this works. It needs a lot of polish. Mostly in like the visual departments here. Okay, to be fair, it does give you enough time because it does the whole flip thing as well. So if it just spawns in like a particle system the moment it pops back into existence. Okay, probably should also disable its own collision when it's when it's not visible. What I wanted to test out is if I'm just walking about when he pops into my face. Like, even if I'm not paying like very close attention, I think it's pretty doable to get out of his range. But in a way that you still do have to be engaged and paying some level of attention. Maybe it's a little too harsh still. I feel like we could probably do with it being slightly less I'm going to murder you. I guess I'll need to let a couple of people test it to see how good people are going to be at avoiding this. Because what I also... You can also do that, right? You can also like use a dash. And honestly, I don't know, maybe when you dash, you should be able to move through enemies as well. Because that way what you can do, I kind of like that idea. That way what you can do is when you get this guy up in your face, you can just have your first instinct to be dashed through him. Is there a good and easy way to do that? Is my dashing a gameplay ability at the moment is the question. I think it is. Let me check. When there's multiple enemies, it will be hard to predict when he shows up. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I don't want the people playing this to like actually predict it. That's why there's a certain amount of randomness to how long it stays invisible. I think. Look, I want it to be reactionary. Anyway, let's take a look here. Is my dashing? My dashing is a gameplay ability. I already figured that out. That's very good. And I already made like reroute notes. Well, ignore this, boss. Can I say with this? set collision response channel for the capsule components. We can. So what we can do is we say for other pawns we start to ignore, and then on ability end we just pull a line to this. We say block again. That should allow us to now dash through enemies, which is something that I think in general is, there we go, we can dash through enemies now, but we can't walk through them, we can only dash through. And this is why I am very happy that I changed to the gameplay ability system, because we can just do that now. Okay, that makes it so much better. It's just that easy to change a mechanic like that now. So worth it to have learned this system. So that kind of just works now. That kind of just works. Of course, I don't have the damage boxes set up yet, but that's just a matter of putting in some collision boxes and pairing those to those bones, and then we I think we have all the other code for that already set up as well, so that should just work. So let's do that. Why not? Let's just do that. Box collision, please. This will be the left hand damage box, which we will parent to hand left 4 question mark maybe, I don't know. 1 1 1. Slightly more in the Y, like 1.20. Well, let's do 1.3. 1.3, not 0.3. That kind of works, and then we can do the same thing with the right hand. Where did I put that one? There, the wrong one. Right hand damage. And of course, that one will go on the hand right. Why the fuck are you? That's why. Okay, there we are. Both of those damage boxes are set now. They should both by default not generate overlap events though. Collision, generate overlap events off. Generate overlap events off. And then in your animation here, animation blueprint, I mean, we also get the get damage left hand, and we can simply set generate overlap events to being true on that one and false on that one, and now we should have the fuck are you talking about? Why does this have an error? Did I not yet? I didn't compile that yet. That said, I think I have a function damage at some point. I think I made a update damage box. Does that do anything else at this point than just turning that off and on? No, it does not. It sets it to active and sets the generate overlap events to active. There's no real good reason for me to use this anymore. It did other stuff in the past, like it used to set the attacking bool to true or false, but that's now done through the gameplay ability system through tags, so I don't really need to use that anymore either. This should now be able to damage me. Excuse me. I need to, of course, disregard this for the time being, and hook this back up. Set that back equal to 7 is a good number. So now you should be able to damage me. So attack me. I'm not getting damage. That's a bit of an issue. Why are you not damaging me? Why are you not damaging me? It's because damage.enemy.basic is what you're sending, and that's not what I'm looking for when receiving, I don't think. Yeah, I have attack.basic. But that is... Let's just go to the parent here because I've forgotten how my own fucking blueprint works. Wait. That explains a lot. That explains a lot. I'm using the wrong parent blueprint. So let's go into the class settings here, and what we want is gameplay ability. Fucking explosions outside. Holy shit. G.A. stands for gameplay ability. And again, explosions. This is kind of why I was debating whether or not I should stream today, or like take the day off as well and just restart at the start of 2024, because it's very close to New Year's and people like to blow shit up. So we're just kind of gonna have to deal with that for a moment here. G.A. like there's a basic attack one somewhere. Did I not prefix it with G.A. or am I just like reading over it? Let's go to like night attack 1. This is fine, reparent that shit, I don't care. Just to have an easy way to G.A. play basic attack animation. Play basic. That's the one I needed. Okay. Now back to class defaults. We have damage gameplay X. That's what we're looking for. So we have the damage basic, right? Damage enemy basic. That's what we're looking for. And then here we add to actual. That's actually not how I should do that, I realize now. The way you should do that is through this menu. So we say we are doing a basic attack. Okay, now it should work. I hope. There we go. That's what we're looking for. You can attack me now. Okay, neat. So that's the basics of this enemy done. Of course, there's a lot more work to do here. Naturally. like actually implement this into the behavior tree like I've been teasing for a while. Thing is, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to implement this. What I think I should do is I should put it into the patrol. So when it's patrolling every 15 seconds, it should do this. I think that's probably a decent way to go about doing that. So that way, like, we have him chasing me when I'm very close by. But when I'm not, he's just patrolling. And at some point, he's going to decide, hey, actually, I'm going to teleport and fuck your day up, like, real bad. But I should stay... Yeah, there we go. So he does that, and then he should also stop moving when he does that, though. But aside from that, that works kind of the way I expected that to work. So again, everything is just going, like, everything went horribly wrong in the first part of the stream because everything was animation related. Now that we're doing actual, like, programming, everything is going swimmingly well. Yeah, now it's loud. I kind of figured out it was loud. It's like literally people, like, outside my window are setting off fireworks. So, like, that's gonna be loud. And unless I'll, like, throw fireworks back in their face, they're not going to stop it. I guess we make this into a sequence instead, where we stop movement and then do the ability. I kind of wish there was an easy way, and there might be, that I'm just not aware of. I kind of wish there was an easy way, though, to, in the event graph here, say only finish executing once the ability is finished executing, like getting a like a delegate to bind to, or something. Let's actually just check that out. Unreal gameplay ability system. Gameplay ability event dispatcher on finished. Yeah, I need something with a callback. Exactly. I suppose what you could do is, for specific abilities, I could have a delegate on the... it's not ideal, but I could have a delegate on the actual blueprint for the character, which the ability calls to when it's finished. I would prefer to just keep it, like, non-hard linked. I'm gonna wait for events bound to an event dispatcher. That's just how event dispatchers work. How to retrieve gameplay event payload. Gameplay ability. Callback. And does anyone know how to wait for an ability to finish? There we go. Behavior tray. What seems to be working for me, just working as now, is add a tag to your ability that you can put on the ability owner. Oh, it is already doing that. Still not exactly what I wanted, but it is doing that, I think. So we have the Reaper teleport attack. In the class defaults, we are setting a activation owned tag, and there we're saying we're doing a attack. For now, let's call it a basic attack, which then should stop at least this part of the behavior tree from running, because it's looking for not having any attack-based tags. So the moment it activates this, it should stop running that until the gameplay ability finishes, and then it should run it again. In theory, I'm going to open up that behavior tree while we play around with this to check that. And we should also, while we're at it, I know that you can't see this at the moment, I'm very sorry. I should decrease the... You don't do that there. You do that in here in the perception. Oh, that's a controller-based thing, right? So I need to make a separate controller with a lower perception. Yeah, let's do this differently. I'll just show you actually real quick. I'm going to say, hey, only chase the player when you are already within like 500 units of him. So when you're very close by, it's allowed to chase. Otherwise, don't even chase, just roam about. Because otherwise it's going to be chasing you too much and too easily. So we're not... but I don't... Oh, it just happens to be patrolling toward my general direction at the moment. Let's get this a little bit more into view. So when it starts doing that attack, which it should do when it reaches its current destination point, it should, yeah, and then it blocks itself from doing anything AI related until this attack is finished. And upon that, it then... Okay, so straight up that just works. And then when I'm too far away, he loses interest and he does his thing again. And the entire thing starts over from the start. Okay. Disappears. 3 to 5 seconds. Makes me dash through him, and at that point he starts chasing me until I'm too far away, which is actually like still pretty... Oh, hold on. It only aborts lower priority. It should probably also abort itself. Holy fuck, that was loud. Okay, so now... Oh, it loses interest real fast now. Let's add that to like 1500 instead. 500 is way too little. But it doesn't have interest in me right now. It should gain interest, and at about that distance, 1500 might be a bit much. Let's add that to 1000. The exact milligram between the two. The thing that I wanted to do anyway, I was like, I don't know if doubling isn't enough, really. But that seems to be just about the range where it's reasonable for, like, yeah, he's chasing me because I'm that close to him. But he doesn't really care when I'm, like, a little further away. Maybe it's more like 1200 is the thing that I want. Then he does that. Which, again, needs some visual polish to it, but we'll figure it out. Okay. The blackboard is pretty simple. It has a reference to the self actor, which is just the owner of this blackboard. A patrol location, which is the location that he patrols toward. A direct reference to the player. A key for the distance to the player, which gets updated every like 0.2 seconds, I believe. Has a bool for whether or not this character can see the player, which uses the AI perception system. And that just, I think, every frame sets, or maybe every so often, sets whether or not the player can be seen. I have a object reference to the ability system component that I use to like check tags and stuff, whether or not certain tags are active, like it being attacked, or it attacking, or it being stunned. And then I have the revenge counter as well, which again is something that gets set through whenever the enemy is attacked. This just gets incremented by 1, and when it exceeds a certain amount, it does the revenge attack. So, and with that I could do a lot more, right? I could say like I have a spectrum of revenge attacks where like between 0 and 3 it has a certain subtree, and then between where it does certain attacks at certain speeds with certain intervals, and then between 3 and 6 it has something different, and then 6 to 10 it has something different, and then it resets something along those lines. So I can use that value for like a lot more than just simply do attack, but at the moment I'm simply using it for do attack. So that's how this blackboard works with this behavior tree. That's it for now. I do think that that is a pretty decent point to end things off. I won't be here on Monday because Monday is January 1st, and I'm probably not going to be in much of a talkative state, if I had to imagine. So we'll be back on... Do I want to put that up here, down there? I don't really care. We'll be back next week on Friday, where we'll maybe continue doing this. Maybe we'll be doing some more animation on my other new character that I got through Fiverr. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. That guy needs some animation and eventually also some programming. So there's quite a lot of gameplay, heavy programming and animation coming up over the next few weeks. And then we'll probably get back to a little bit of level design as well. And eventually we'll make our way into the character creation and the entire process of making the boss fight for this dungeon. And by the end of January or something, maybe sometime in February, we'll probably have a working prototype version of this dungeon as well. At which point, there's a lot of testing that needs to be done. And I can move on to the next dungeon. And there's 6 of these fuckers in total, so there's going to be a lot of work. Thanks everybody for coming to chill, to hang out. And I'll be back next week again to have some more fun. See you all then.